Enjoy your meeting.
Amount for what they need, but not way more than what they need. So that is a possibility, yes.
Thanks, Frank. Next question is for either you or for Laura. How do you know if an appraiser is an independent contractor or not?
Okay, I can take this one. So the minimum requirements say that an appraiser is an independent contractor based on how the AMC treats that appraiser for the purposes of federal taxation. So if you get into the minimum requirements, there's actually a footnote in there. If you're wondering, I mean, that pretty much answers the question, but there is a document that's referenced. There's a website that you can go to that will basically walk you through. If you're treating the appraiser according to these requirements, then they're an independent contractor for the purposes of federal income taxation. Otherwise, you're not.
Okay, thank you. So earlier in the presentation, we mentioned that the minimum standards define an AMC based on how many independent contractors are on the panel. How do most states currently define an appraiser panel?
So earlier we talked a little bit about, Frank actually mentioned that, states obviously have already been defining an appraiser panel. A majority of the states right now that have AMC laws are defining the appraiser panel as being comprised of independent contractors. But there are some states, a minority, that use a broader definition that uses the hybrid, a combination of both independent contractors and employees.
Right.
So we've seen a little of both.
Okay. Let's do this. Unless somebody wants to submit any questions via the notes section, I would be happy to unmute the phone lines and take live questions if you want to give them a try. Before I do so, though, for the folks listening in, I am going to unmute the calls, but if you on your end would please put your phone on mute so that we eliminate as much background noise as possible. If this doesn't work, we'll have to go back to mute, but let me give this a try.
All guests are no longer muted.
Okay. Are there any questions for Laura or for Frank?
Yeah, I've got one. This is Nathan Cron from Rails. Laura and Frank, great presentation, and I think it's a lot of good content. I think one of the questions that has come up since the new federal rules have dropped is what are the practical day-to-day, or are there any practical day-to-day changes in how an AMC operates based on the issuance of these and the soon-to-be finalized rules? And I'm just wondering if you guys have some thoughts on that.
So
An interesting
right
question. Go ahead, Laura.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. All right. So right off the bat, I mean, right now, obviously there's not a lot of changes. There's 36 months for the states to come up with requirements, or potentially, that could be extended by another year. So really, immediately no change, but the changes are going to be when states start to look at their requirements and see if they're consistent with the minimum requirements, and they start to modify them. And also as we start getting into, for example, the ASC coming up with their guidance and their standards. Frank, do you want to add to that?
I think that was the perfect answer. We have the regulations in place, and those haven't yet changed. The thing that's changed that there's new advice, both in terms of this now final AMC rule and the coming registry fees and the policy statements that will all be with us within a matter of months. And those are all going to prompt a number of re-examination of the existing regulatory structure. So our operations may deal with changes as we as new things get enacted. Before that, we as REVA will be quite busy, I suspect, monitoring and offering input on a number of proposals as they come up. I don't see anything that, because the regulation is really aimed at the states, it's not aimed at directly at AMC. So I don't know that maybe somebody else, anybody else here in the audience have a different perspective on that. Okay,
participants, your phones have been unmuted, so please feel free to jump in. Are there any additional questions for either Frank or for Laura, or any comments pertaining to the new final rules? All right. Well, hearing none, Frank and Laura, any final comments in regards to today's presentation?
Laura, you first. Anything?
Nope, just thank everyone for attending. I know it's the next 3 years are going to be a little nerve-wracking at times. I think as much as AMCs can get their voices out there and be active and engaged in educating legislators as to how proposed legislation will impact the industry and consumers, the better. It seems like anytime REVA has reached out and engaged with legislators, the legislators are really responsive. A lot of these people, they don't have a background in the industry, and they're very receptive to input and comments on some of the ideas that they come up with. So that would be my encouragement.
I'll piggyback on that a little bit, and my thing would be to thank the members of REVA for creating that environment, because somebody mentioned just recently that it wasn't too long ago that if you showed up at an Aero meeting and admitted that you were working for an AMC, it was almost universally a hostile reaction that you got. People were uncertain and even hostile. But our presence there and the contributions that we've made there have made a significant difference and change in that tone, which works to the benefit of all the companies that are a part of REVA. I have to thank all of the many very outstanding individuals who have been involved in working on many of the different proposed regulations and laws along the way. We get great input, great feedback, an opportunity for each of us to offer our ideas and see a significant outcome that turns things in a more positive fashion in most cases that we've been involved in. So I want to thank the members of REVA for what you have all done.
Excellent. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Frank. Thank you to all the participants. I know this is going to be an ongoing topic for us for several years, and certainly will be the showcase of our federal and state legislative efforts and regulatory efforts. We will have a recording of this presentation along with notes available for anybody that would like to get them. They certainly can contact me or any of the presenters here for more information. We'd be happy to share that. And before we head out, I guess one last call for any questions or comments related to today's presentation. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a great Thursday and a great weekend.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
Mark.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mark.